As Cirrus was being built, scientists at the Weapons Research Establishment designed and built another digital computer. It was to be installed at the WRE's rocket testing facility at Woomera in central South Australia, and its purpose was to track rocket trajectories in real time and predict where they would impact. The tracking data came from the WRE's radar stations 200 kilometres from Woomera, which meant the WRE also had to invent a reliable transmission system. It was named Atropos after the Greek goddess of death. Atropos was operational at the end of 1963 and was considered highly reliable, being the largest real-time computer in Australia at the time. It remained in service until 1974.
After 2 years of working at Weapons Research Establishment doing electronics design, I applied for and was awarded a studentship to undertake a doctorate. And on the third and fourth year of my training with WRE, I got to see the inside of the electronics research laboratory, and I started to get visits to Woomera.
Woomera was definitely a government town. Everyone there worked for the government, and there was quite a lot of security as well.
Being in the Australian desert, it was very hot, very dusty. At its peak, I think there were 4,000 people living there.
There was a military aspect to it, and there was quite an interesting community of women who were married, who lived on base essentially, and they had children.
Married couples were allocated a house in the township, and the others lived mostly in caravans, which were air-conditioned, though the air conditioners broke down frequently, and there was something of an air conditioning war on.
There's this idealised view of Woomera. The families living there, they had a company town, essentially.
It was a fairly boring place to live after work. There was a Saturday night dance, and that consisted of the senior engineers and their wives dancing, and that was not much fun for young fellas like me. Yeah, it did have a movie theatre and a swimming pool and picnic areas.
Everything was perfect. You know, the gardens were perfect.
They were attempting to grow some shade trees, which at the time I was there were not very big, and they planted some lawns. And they didn't go very well either. They got burnt up by the hot sun. All in all, it's not a town you would choose to live in.
It was a town probably of several thousand young men who were working as military or with the Ministry of Supply. But then there were also these young women who were the human computers who would spend some of their time at Woomera. Some of the camera operators were young women where they had sort of essentially single female quarters, I suppose you call.
But fortunately, I had a friend in the Air Force, and he used to fly back to Adelaide every weekend, and so I used to join him in that adventure. And I parked my car at the Edinburgh Air Base on departure for Woomera, and then collect it on the way back so that I could drive into town and have a weekend, as the young fellows might want.
It was the era of the Cold War. They were testing rockets, which did have military applications, so everything was secret.
Atropos was a computer designed at the Weapons Research Establishment in succession to WREDAC.
It was designed in South Australia by several local engineers, built at Salisbury and taken by truck up to Woomera.
But its task was to handle real-time data.
It could convert radar data to position and speed.
Its principal task was to predict the landing point of a missile. The impact position was seriously important if in the case that the missile would go out of control and head towards some undesirable area. I would imagine that there would be hell to pay if it landed on an Aboriginal community. Atropos was not called that to begin with. It was initially called the Digital Impact Calculator, when it was realised that that was an unfortunate acronym, and it was renamed as the Digital Impact Predictor, which was its name when I first saw it at Woomera. It was later renamed as Atropos. It was taking the basic design from a first-generation implementation using valves and primitive memory and primitive I/O and bringing it up to scratch with what was then current knowledge. So it was transistorized.
It had 13,000 transistors, which was it was a new development in computing to move to transistors, which is a rather large number of transistors to be checking every day. Yet we consider these machines had to be checked every day, and every transistor had to be working. So that's quite a big workload. And it also had 8,000 diodes, so it was quite a big machine.
And it had core memory, and it had transistorized relays and registers. It was basically a rebuild of an English machine. The name of the computer was TREAC, standing for Telecommunications Research Establishment Automatic Computer. Trevor Piercy paid a visit to there after his CIRAC days. When Atropos was built, transistorized and built with fast core memory, transistorized registers, it would have at the time been the fastest computer in Australia. Atropos was dedicated to real-time processing of range data, and as far as I know, I don't think it was ever made available for general purpose computing. Atropos was located at the range in Woomera and connected directly with the telemetry devices by high-speed communications. And those communication systems were designed by engineers at WRE. There was a lot of work done at the electronics research labs at Salisbury to enable communication systems to work, like interfaces between some of the telemetry devices and then conversion to a form suitable for data transmission, and vice versa at the other end on reception to interface with Atropos. Like Atropos looked like most computers at the time, a bunch of boxes with closed covers on them. I think it had half a dozen big cabinets. In fact, it's something of a mystery to me as to why it was so big, because transistorizing the TREAC computer should have resulted in something not much bigger than 2 or 3 refrigerators, but it was much bigger than that. I don't think it had magnetic tape initially. Magnetic tape was quite new then and very expensive. What I did see was a two-dimensional plotter, which actually plotted in real time the predicted impact point of the missiles. The graph plotter started plotting instantaneously. The missile was fired and kept track of it in real time. And in real time, it was predicting where the missile might land should it get out of control. And of course, should it get out of control, it would be sent a self-destruct signal.
I think the legacy of Woomera was a piece of the Cold War era where rocket testing out in the desert was a way of developing knowledge and information in a secure zone.
The weapons that I saw being tested to begin with is Blue Streak, which was the intercontinental ballistic missile. That was a kerosene and liquid oxygen powered missile. But I also observed the Blue Steel missile, which was the British equivalent of the cruise missile, and that was intended to be air-launched by the UK V-series bombers. And the ones that I saw were being launched by the Vickers Valiant bomber. And that was quite interesting to watch, because Woomera being out in the desert and almost no rainfall, you could see in the distance the sun glinting off the Valiant bomber on its way towards the range. And at a distance of many kilometres, it was a dot in the sky, a glint in the sky. You could actually see it drop the cruise missile and head off over where we were observing and heading off into the desert. It was quite accurate. I went out on one test to verify where it had landed, and it got within quite close range to where it was intended.
The information was often sent to England and not really provided to the local people. They were doing the tests, but often the analysis was ultimately done in England.
Of interest at Woomera was the testing of the Jindovic vehicle. That was a jet-powered aircraft designed to tow targets capable of high speed. Typically, air-to-air missiles fired from a jet fighter would fly and destroy a quite expensive flying target. And so the concept was that Jindovic would tow a target but not get harmed itself. And it was a very successful idea. And Jindovic was manufactured at the aircraft factory in Melbourne and sold internationally. And I believe at the time, in Australian dollars at the time, it had an income of $34 million, which was a lot of money then. Atropos ran reliably until 1974. For a machine designed then and to run for that long is outstanding.